There's so many great film composers, so I thought I would talk about music today, and I kind of started my day with music. Music comes when you have locked your edit. When you have a final edit, locked picture on your film, which means you've shot your film and you've edited and you've done a rough cut and you've gone through your rough cut and you fine-tuned it and you've got it down to an actual final, we're locked picture, we're not going to make any more changes, which means once you've locked, you've locked. You can't go back now and say, oh, you know, really, maybe we could make that scene a little bit shorter, or maybe we should put another scene in, or maybe we should change that cut. No, once you lock, you lock, because you can't start changing things when you start handing it off to your sound designer and your composer, because they're writing material based on the locked cut. So your composer is composing music based on your finished cut, on the amount of time allotted for every scene. He's composing to that cut. So when you start changing it, it will throw everything off, and you don't want to do that. You mess him up, him, her. It's a really bad thing. So as you're editing, I will suggest that you not edit to a temp track. Let me repeat myself. Do not edit to a temp track. A lot of editors like to do that because you're going to pick music for a temp track that's either popular music, it's on the radio, or it belongs on some other film. You may like that music, you may think it really fits the tone, the feel, the rhythm, the whatever of your movie, but guess what? What ends up happening is you get married. You get emotionally connected to that music, and then you can't afford it. You can't afford it because somebody else owns it, and you can't afford to license it, to buy it, to get it into your film. So that's the first reason not to cut to a temp track, because you'll never be as happy with something else that's similar to, almost as good as, almost like this. It's just, you're not going to be happy. All right. Second reason, when you cut to a temp track and you've got music going as you're editing, it covers up what you're doing. And music is designed to elevate your cut, to elevate your film, not to cover up any deficiencies in what you've shot or how you're editing it. So what it tends to do when you cut with a temp track is it tends to cover up things that aren't working, that you need to fix in the edit. So if it's not working, you don't always notice that it's not working when the music is there, because the music tends to take you along with it. And you don't notice that the film may be dragging, or the film may have a hole there. The rhythm may be slightly off in that scene because the music is taking you along. Especially the sound issues. You may not notice that you have sound issues there that need to be fixed. Best to cut your film dry, completely dry. Then you see what works and what doesn't work, and you fix it first. Then the music is layered on top of that, the sound design is layered on top of that, and the special effects are layered on top of that, all designed to elevate what you've already got, which hopefully is really, really good. Now, how do you pick a composer? How do you know somebody is good, not good, okay, better? Well, first of all, I would say this. A lot of filmmakers want to go out and just put popular music from the day. You know, getting a band and putting in a lot of songs in their film. Nothing wrong with that. Songs are great. I like songs, and it's cheap if you go find a band hasn't hit yet and hasn't like made it, and they're just maybe got a couple underground records, and you like their sound, you like their vibe, they're willing to record for you for next to nothing. That's all well and good. The problem with putting in music that is popular today is that 5 years from now, it is going to sound dated. You can do it if it's a period piece, but you're better off having the bulk of your music be a score. Original music that's written, that's scored to your film, and not just songs that are in the style and are popular of today. It makes your film more evergreen. It makes your film feel more timeless and like it had a bigger budget. And believe it or not, there are composers out there who are willing to work on mini budgets. You can get composers who are willing to work on very, very tiny budgets. Low and no, for people who are just getting started in the business and want to have a film credit. They'll go out and they'll record it for you. And these people have these amazing orchestral sounds in their computers. Computers are amazing things these days. You can do a lot of things with computers, and you can make your computer sound like an orchestra now. The one little trick, now you may not be able to afford this, but the one little trick that I always do with my composer is we always pick one main instrument that sort of encapsulates the sound of the protagonist, or it sounds like the tone of the film to me and to him. And we record all of that instrumental line, all of the lines of that instrument live. We go into a studio, we rent a little studio, usually here in the valley. We don't pay a lot of money, but there are a lot of little people that have little home studios. We rent a little studio, and we get a player, and we pay them. And it usually takes an afternoon, 2 hours, maybe 3, depends on how much music he's written. And we record that player live. And then that gets married to the rest of the soundtrack, which is synthesized instruments and mixed with the rest of them. What that has a tendency to do is make you hear the rest of the instruments as live because of the organic sound of that one live player. You can hear that one player is live because a live player just has a different sound. I almost can't describe it to you, but they do. What kind of a budget am I talking about? I usually end up paying somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 for my musical score for a short film. That includes my composer, my musician, my recording in the studio, and the sound mixing. So it's all together, all of it. I can get all of it for that price. That's for a short film, that's not for a feature. I'm sure when I go to him and say, I want a feature now, it's going to be more. But it's, you can get those kinds of deals. And I'm sure outside of Los Angeles, you can get better deals because it's more expensive here than anywhere else. I'm going to tell you something. On Dead Drop, we had 2 live instruments. We had a percussionist, one of the top percussionists in town, and he played all kinds of drums and different stuff. And we had a cellist. And the cellist who played on my recording session, the day after the Academy Awards, mind you, the night before, playing at the Academy Awards for Adele on stage, right next to her. So I was like, oh, I saw you last night at the Academy Awards playing for Adele. How cool is that? And here she is coming to play for my session the next day. Musicians, interestingly enough, are not like actors. They don't have egos, and they don't discriminate, and they just want a gig. They just want a gig. And they love music, and they love playing, and if you pay them, they'll show up. It's the most awesome thing in the world. And they're not like, oh, honey, I was on the Academy Awards last night. I'm not coming to play for you. It's like, no, it's a gig. And we're paying, and so she comes, and it's awesome. So okay, orchestral score, better. So here's what I look for in a composer. If I were to try to hire another composer besides the one that I work with now, here's what I'm going to look for. Does he write musical lines, melodies? Or does he just write, if I'm listening to his demo, all right, and most composers will have a demo. They'll have a CD or a place on their website where you can listen to their music that they've written before. Do they just have these nice, what I call synth pads, which are just chords that change, chords, chord, chord, chord. They might be, you know, if it's a suspense thriller, they might be, you know, like suspenseful chords, but they're just chords, all right? Or do they actually write melodic lines, melodies? Because if they don't actually write melodies, they're not for me. I want somebody who's actually going to write melodies. I don't want somebody who's just going to put like background synth pad in the back of my film. I want melodies because I want each one of my characters to have a melodic line. And I want somebody who understands the difference between the instruments, because I usually specify this character is this instrument and this character is that instrument. And the second thing is I want to see something that they've scored, because I want to know that the composer understands that sometimes silence is just as important, if not more important, than the music. Silence can highlight a musical cue. And if your composer doesn't know that, then you've got the wrong composer. Because to have a really strong musical cue and it's wall-to-wall music, you're never going to hear that musical cue. It won't stand out. It's just the same as in a suspense thriller. In a suspense thriller, if it's all all the time, you're never going to be scared. You have to have the quiet moment where everybody's like, oh, great, okay, man, that was really scary. Okay, yeah, we're all getting, everybody's like calmed down and we're relaxing and everything's great. And oh boy, was that, oh man, I don't know that we'll ever get over that again. And then the scary thing can like hit you out of nowhere, because we're all relaxed now. You got to have those down moments. You have to have a composer who understands that it's not going to be wall-to-wall music. Not in my film, anyway. I want silence. I want moments where there is absolutely no music at all. And then the score is going to creep in. And right before there's going to be a big musical cue, there's going to be silence. And right after a big dramatic moment, there's going to be silence. You have to know where the silence should be.